Why does it never occur to me that August is the month right after July? This is something that just occurred to me a few days ago, so let me provide some context before I get into overanalyzing this simple question, then dumping my ramblings about it into the void of no audience YouTube videos. I just graduated from high school last school year. Let's go, class of 2023! And I was smart enough to not fall for the "you have to go to college" lie. I don't have any school currently planned out. Sounds simple when I say it like that, so let me emphasize. For the past 14 years, that is pre-K and kindergarten, plus 12 grades, my entire life was going to school every weekday, except for the smaller breaks, and the famous big show-off summer break. This was just the way that it was. The most basic, large-scale blocks of life scheduling for that overwhelming majority of my life. School for fall, winter, and spring, then a big ol' break for the summer before summer would end and school would start again. For a school-age kid, it was just ingrained into my worldview on a level so basic it never even crossed my mind to view it any other way. Then I graduated from high school, ended 12th grade, and it was kind of a weird feeling, knowing that I was no longer a student on summer break, but just someone that exists in the world. The idea that this wasn't some temporary break that would end with summer, but would just be the way that life is from now on. But it wouldn't be a realization that would fully click until more recently. Now, I was extremely blessed by God, and that I was able to find and be accepted into an apprenticeship program to be an electrician only about a month after graduating from high school, and that's what I've been doing with my life ever since. Aside from serving God, of course, but that's a given for any time in life. Fast forward to a few days ago, and this is where we get back to that initial question of the video. So it's super early Tuesday morning, and I'm in the van with the journeyman. Let's call him Tim, you know? Heading out, so me and Tim, we're heading out to a job. And we're just talking like usual, you know, it's just discussing guy stuff, because basically our whole time, we're all friends, buddies. It's oh, it's not just these are some people I'm working with. No, these are my friends. And right now he's talking about how he's having to get his kids registered for school. And man, right as he says that, the realization that it's almost August just punches me in the face like a right hook from Mike Tyson. Then, it's the strangest feeling. My first summer, not as a student, is over. It's like everything before still felt like part of the school cycle, so it didn't really click, because my subconscious thought, oh, it's not unusual to not be at school during the summer. But now, the fact that I am no longer a school-going kid, but just a guy existing in the world, is finally hitting, seeing the end of summer, but not going back to school. And it was quite a strange feeling indeed. Until another thought hit me. How come it always catches me off guard that the month after July is August? It's a fact that I know. If someone asks me to list the months in order, I'll go June, July, August, without a second thought. Of course, I know the order of the months. Therefore, I know that right after July comes August. But do I really? When I was in school, I would always be super shocked and confused whenever they would start airing back to school commercials and having back to school sales in mid to late July. Also, whenever adults would tell me that summer is almost over and that it was almost time to go back to school, there's this undeniable feeling of mental whiplash, Whenever you flip the calendar or first hear people saying that it's August, on the 1st, going from July, just saying it out loud or starting to think about it. August being the month that comes right after July just doesn't sound or feel right. Like, sure, I'll say it when listing all the months in order, but if someone specifically asked me what month comes after July, I would have to stop and think about it. And then it wouldn't feel right, as if my brain keeps trying to insert another month in between them, unlike all the other months where I would almost immediately know what comes after them. So I say the question out loud, and apparently Tim also feels like that, although to a lesser extent seemingly. So we start examining the question, just, really digging into it, and that was just conversation for the rest of that van ride. And so the rest of this is just kind of sort of gonna be what we got out of that conversation, with a few days of summer as well. And in the end, the conclusion we came to, it all comes back to what I was talking about earlier, with the school cycle structure being ingrained into the most basic part of my worldview. Because the thing is that the school year is, of course, heavily desynced from the calendar year by quite a lot. And the same goes for the summer break, being desynced from the actual changing of seasons. When you're a kid, the summer break is special for two reasons. First is its extremely long length compared to all the other seasonal breaks from school. The second is its role as the separation between grades/school years, marking the end of one and the beginning of another. This all adds up to the idea that summer break isn't a break that is in the summer in the same way that Christmas break is a break in the winter, or spring break is a break in the spring, but rather it feels like summer itself is the break, or that school just doesn't happen in summer. But the thing is that summer break is a break that happens in the summer, rather than summer itself being the break. Because summer break ends in August, but the season of summer, with its weather and all that whatnot, continues for a whole 2 more months until October. Unless you live down here in the south, you still get more hot days than cool days until December. But when you're a kid in school, August and September don't feel like summer, because they aren't part of the break. Because when the school year cycle is so ingrained into your worldview, the end of summer break is practically equal to the end of summer, and the actual changing of seasons becomes secondary, if not outright ignored, and August and September are subconsciously grouped in with the fall months, when they really shouldn't be. So, there's our answer, right? Well, not really, because even with this, it still doesn't explain why the transition is so sharp. The simple fact just seems so odd and jarring. It would indeed seem that we only have half of the equation, my friend. We still have to find what makes the difference between the transition from November and to December and the transition from July to August. Why do they feel so different? Well, I think I've got it. Although this is where we enter some more subjective territory, as well as some region-specific stuff, since I know different areas experience the seasons and times of year differently. Although none of this is new to this conversation. It was super personal from the beginning anyways. I think it comes down to the illusion of no transition month. Let me explain. Let's look at the beginning of the year, and the first transition of seasons from winter to spring. We have February, which is undoubtedly winter, and April, which is undoubtedly spring. And in the middle, we have March, this kind of gray area transition month that acts both like winter, especially at the beginning, and spring, especially at the end. Let's skip a bit further ahead to going from spring to summer. We have the same setup, where April, as stated earlier, is undoubtedly spring, and June is undoubtedly summer. And in the middle, we have May, to act as the gray transition month. Let's go way further ahead in the year and look at the transition from fall to winter. November is, at least where I is, undoubtedly seen as a part of fall, like peak fall. While the winter doesn't technically start until midway through December according to the calendar, almost everyone agrees that December is undoubtedly winter, probably because of the cultural influences of Christmas. This leaves no real gray transition month going from fall to winter, so in theory, it should feel super jarring. But it doesn't. It just feels right and okay to have the super definitely fall November and the super definitely winter December right next to each other. And I have a hypothesis why. It's because fall itself is kind of like one big transition between summer and winter. Sure, spring is also just a transition between those two, but fall is more of a noticeable transition. The fall time being associated with change is heavily ingrained into a bunch of different cultures, running far back, probably because of how it affects crop growth and denotes harvesting times. So that's why I think that having no proper unofficial transition month between fall and winter seems alright. But when we go back to the summer to fall transition, when you think about the absolute peak of summer, the hottest of hot days, and the 4th of July cookouts, and all other kinds of summery activities, it's going to be July. June is undoubtedly summer, and looking at it seasonally, in a world without the school year cycle, then August should also be undoubtedly summer. But July isn't just undoubtedly summer. It is peak summer. And also the middle of the season of summer. So there's still tons of summer season left. So then, when you're subconsciously lumping August and September in with fall, when you really shouldn't be, you get this disconnect between knowing that July is peak summer and the middle of summer, and your subconscious thinking that August and July are fully fledged fall with no transition month in between, when in actuality, August is undoubtedly summer and September is arguably the gray transition month. This, I think, is why I always find it hard to comprehend that August comes directly after July, as a basic of a fact as it is. Maybe, as I continue into adult life and accumulate years as not a school student, my subconscious will finally clear out the school year cycle, and my feelings about the months will be properly coordinated with the actual changing of seasons. But somewhere deep down, I don't think it will. I think something deep down inside tells me this phenomenon of being caught off guard by such a simple fact will never fully go away. For an entire 14 years of my life, and those were my developing years as a child and teenager no less, my entire life was ruled by the scheduling of the school year cycle, to the point where I'd been this deeply ingrained into how I view the passage of time. I don't think it will ever fully go away. Lessen over time maybe, but never truly go away. Well, thanks for watching. Remember to work hard, but not too hard. Live life in the slow lane, and worship God.